Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's purpose. Yeah, we're doing the final GWV Sunday Round-Up of the year. So here we go. We're going to go through activity, sea surface temperature, anomalies, QBO, AO, NAO data, and more for this final Sunday Round-Up of the year. Last Sunday Round-Up because next week, 1 week today, winter updates will begin, and on a weekly basis, not a monthly but a weekly basis, we will go through all of this. And so there will be no point doing a Sunday Round-Up because we've just been repeating ourselves from the winter updates. So Sunday Round-Ups are put on the back burner once August is out of the way in favour of winter updates. So one last time in 2023, we're going to bring you GavsWeatherVids Sunday Round-Up. I shall get on with that for you in a moment. Just to say about the first video, it's been an epic day, epic. Just say about the first video today was 6 AM UK weather forecast. We have also released the autumn forecast, so have a look at see what we're predicting for autumn 2023, and could be live streaming at 6 PM this evening. So we're going to do 10 to 14 days. You won't see any forecasting with this Sunday Roundup, by the way. We'll take that out of Sunday Roundups and put them into put the forecast into the live stream. So we'll do a regular 10 to 14 day with the live stream, and that will be where all of the forecast charts are included. And we will also have lots of long range in the live stream as well. So we'll have a look at the CFS as ever, and we will also be having a look at the Copernicus suite of models on a month-by-month basis as well. So that's all to come at 6 PM. I shall see you live a little bit later on. Thank you so much, Richard, for our GavsWeatherVids Sunday Roundup gift. Thank you so much, Rich. I love the gift. Thank you so much, my friend. Got a gift to celebrate the last Sunday Roundup of the year. Thank you so much to Richard Shaw for that. Okay, let's do this then. For the last time, we're going to have a look, well, not for the last time, but for the last time on Sunday Roundups, we're going to have a look at solar activity Stratospheric. So this is looking on our side of this from solarham.net today. Got various sunspot regions. However, solar activity is at relatively low levels and is expected to remain at relatively low levels for the next couple of days as well. This is the GavsWeatherVids final Sunday Roundup solar activity tracker sent through by Shrine. Thank you so much to Shrine Bloom for sending this one through. Excuse me. So we can see all the way back to the beginning of the solar cycle, actually, right way back to the start of 2020. With this is the extended tracker, and you can see how solar activity has been increasing. It's been lifting up from the low level it was at the beginning of the cycle when we were just around solar minimum. Took a while for the cycle to get going through most of 2021, actually fairly quiet, and it did look as though this solar cycle would be very similar to solar cycle 24 back then in the opening year or so of the solar cycle. It was like at the beginning of 2022 that things started picking up around here, and since then we've been trending up to actually quite an active solar cycle, certainly a little bit more active than solar cycle 24. We had our last sort of major peak of the solar cycle occurring back earlier on in the summer up there. That was like late June into July. Since then, the trend is down a little bit actually. So you can see from the thick red and the thick green lines, which is 7-day 30-day average, that they're dropping. And remember, the orange line and the orange spots depicting each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. So back earlier on in the summer, the orange spots were up here. We're having some very active days. We have now lowered back down to that sort of level. So it's possible this was our first maximum of solar cycle 25. Remember, generally we get 2 peaks of the solar cycle. So you normally get 1 peak, and then about 18 months, maybe a couple of years later, you will get a second peak. So it is possible that that is our first maximum of this solar cycle. We won't know, of course, until we're much further on in the solar cycle, out of solar maximum, descending down to solar minimum, and then we'll be able to look back and we'll be able to see then whether that is indeed the first maximum of solar cycle 25. It could be it possibly isn't. We will know, you know, if we get a higher peak, of course, in the next few months, then we'll know. We will get at least one more active phase, though, definitely, for this solar cycle. And that, you know, even if that is the first maximum, there will be, or there almost always is a second maximum. Anyway, we've lowered solar sunspot activity down to a slightly lower level at the moment. We wait to see where we're going to go beyond that. Now, we can actually see Shrine Set Mystery. This is how this compares to solar cycle 24 up to this phase of the solar cycle. You see what a slow start solar cycle 24 we had beginning in 2009 and just a very long, you know, solar minimum really going through 2009 and 2010. It wasn't until we got into 2011 that we start getting a little bit more activity. The first peak of the first maximum of solar cycle 24 is just here, actually, in the latter stages, in the autumn of 2011, in the latter stages of the year, and then things go quieter through 2012 and into the first half of 2013. But clearly, if you compare the two solar cycles, you can see that this one is a lot more active, much more active in terms of sunspot numbers, daily sunspot numbers, compared to solar cycle 24. 25 is definitely turning into a more active solar cycle, albeit it's still relatively low. I don't want people running away with the idea of having a really massive solar cycle. It is still a relatively low solar cycle, but it is significantly more active up to this point anyway, with solar cycle 25 compared to solar cycle 24. And this is from Shrine as well. This is showing solar cycle 23, 24 and 25. So solar cycle 23 took place from 1996 until 2008, just here. And of course, this is where we currently are with solar cycle 25. So you see we're already above solar cycle 24, both maximums of solar cycle 24 in 2011 and then again at the start of 2014. We're above both of those maximums already, solar maximums for this solar cycle. And we're under 23 though, so solar cycle 23 was really quite was really a very big solar cycle, you know. So it looks like we're going to be somewhere between 23 and 24 for solar cycle 25. We're going to be more active for solar cycle 25, but we're not going to be as active as solar cycle 23. I'd imagine we'll come out somewhere around there in the end, with this solar cycle, you know, on the graph, which will be a little bit under. It will be a little bit under solar cycle 23. So yes, somewhere in between the two solar cycles. You see, we did have quite a slow start, as I say, with this solar cycle down here, and it did look quite similar to solar cycle 24 for a while, but it was really at the beginning of 2022, I think, just leapt into life, which we didn't really get with solar cycle 24. Solar cycle 24 is much more curved rather than rising upwards on the trend line there. So anyway, we'll keep monitoring, of course we will, and you'll see the solar trackers in the winter updates. This is from Richard. Thank you so much, Richard Shaw, sending this through. This is showing spotted days and the current spotted stretch. The current spotted stretch is 0 days, as all days this year have had sunspots, as you expect, given that we are now in the max or approaching the maximum phase of solar cycle 25. So every day this year had sunspots. In 2022, we had 1 day but didn't have any sunspots. In 2021, we had 64 days but didn't have any sunspots. That's 18% of the year. In 2020, we had 208 days that didn't have sunspots. That's 57% of the year. Of course, the solar minimum year was 2019 with 281 days, 77% of the year without put your glasses on, Gav, without sunspots. 2018 had 221 days without sunspots. That was 61% of the year. 2017 just 104 days, 28% of the year. And the first day as we approach solar minimum, or first year as we approach solar minimum, that didn't have sunspots of 2016, that was 32 days, just 9% of the year. 2015, 2014, 2013, 2012, 2011. They're the solar maximum years for solar cycle 24. Our comparable year for this year is indeed 2011. So in 2011, we had 2 days without sunspots. 2012 had no days without sunspots, but it was at a lower level, if you see what I mean. So all days in 2012 did have sunspots, but generally solar activity for that part of solar cycle around solar maximum was quite low. And then 2013, again, 0 days. 2014, 1 day. 2015, 0 days. Without sunspots. So so next year will be comparable to 2012. So our comparable year for 2024 will be 2012, I think. And that's going to be interesting to see how that works out. You expect every day next year to have sunspots, and in the 2 or 3 years afterwards. We should start moving towards solar minimum and, getting our first spotless days probably in 2017. Probably in 2027. So we shall see, and we'll keep monitoring solar activity. Of course, it always plays a big part within our winter updates. This year will be no exception. We'll be monitoring solar activity every week. Right, oceans data next. We've got our 4 areas of interest. We've got the ENSO region just here. We've got the Northern Pacific over there. We've got the Indian Ocean over here. We've got the North Atlantic over there. This is how the oceans were looking when we did last month's Sunday Roundup. Very warm oceans indeed. This is how the oceans are looking now. So let's deal with the ENSO region first of all. Going back to last month, 28th of July, going forwards to now, we can see that El Nino is continuing to develop. It's a little bit of a slow developer though. Most of the hottest of the sea surface temperature anomalies are in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. In the central regions, we are beginning to warm things up a little bit more, but not a huge amount of warming, to be honest, over the past month. So in the central part of the equatorial Pacific Ocean, we're kind of weak to borderline moderate now for this El Nino event. Obviously, it's a very strong El Nino event in the eastern region, but we don't. That doesn't get the event doesn't get designated by the eastern portion of the ENSO region, if you see what I mean. Going northwards, we've still got the cold PDO signature here. To the north of the ENSO region, this cold average area sea surface temperature anomaly just here is the signature for a cold PDO. However, that has weakened and shrunk a little bit compared to last month. We'll be keeping a close eye on what the PDO, Pacific Decadal Oscillation, is doing in our winter update. Sometimes a cold PDO with El Nino can get quite interesting, but if the cold PDO sort of fades away and that area turns warm as well, then I'm not going to go into what that could mean, but if you want a cold winter, then that would be relatively bad news. And of course, we see it's warm on average to the north of the Pacific, of the ENSO region as well. So going to the North Pacific Ocean looks pretty warm up there. So generally quite a warm Pacific at the moment. Into the Indian Ocean, it's warm over here, cool over there. That's signature for the positive IOD. We'll talk more about that in our winter updates, of course. And then the North Atlantic just remains as it has been all year in a very, very warm state. It's not quite as on fire as it was like back around May, June time, but nevertheless still significantly above average sea surface temperature anomalies in virtually all areas, to be honest, particularly again down in in the tropics and into the subtropical Atlantic, and also in the northern and northwestern portion of the North Atlantic there to the south of Greenland to Newfoundland. So very warm both for the Indian, Pacific and also Atlantic Ocean. Southern Oscillation Index is looking like this. Remember, this is measuring air pressures between Tahiti and also between Darwin as well. So this is from Queensland Government. We've got our columns here: Tahiti air pressure there, Darwin there, and then the overall SOI number is just here. All negative generally, as you expect, given that the atmosphere is coupled to the ocean, be producing El Nino. So, for example, on the 23rd of August, we went down by 17 16.48 on 21st of August, went down by 16.75. We did get a couple of very weakly positive days just there, 19th and 18th of August. Further back into the month, we see some very, very negative days indeed. We've got the 8th of August at minus 24, 7th of August at minus 27, 6th of August at minus 24 as well. As long as these negative numbers keep up, then we will continue to see the El Nino developing as the atmosphere and the oceans are coupled with one another. The 38 SY average has actually lifted up slightly from where it was earlier on in August. It was down here between minus 12 and minus 14. It's now up around minus 8, something like that. Still solidly negative though. And I wouldn't expect that to change this side of 2024. I think we will keep the SOI in negative territory. The atmosphere will continue to be reflective of El Nino, and so will the ocean too. CFSB2 forecasting not as strong an El Nino event as it was a couple of months ago. You remember a couple of months ago, the forecast here was going off the scale virtually up to here, going for like a super El Nino, possibly even a record-breaking El Nino. It has toned back down a lot now. So where we currently are, now, of course, got a temperature on the side, and dates in monthly periods are along the bottom. So where we are now is in El Nino territory. We've gone above that all-important 1.5 half a degree above average. We're close to between 1 and 1.5 degrees above average just here. The black dash line is on summer mean. That goes up to between 1.5 and 2 degrees above average, and that is kind of moderate to borderline strong for this El Nino event. So now predicting a moderate to borderline strong event. However, if this starts to curve even more, so if it starts to do something a little bit more like that, which it could do, then we would end up coming away with a moderate event as opposed to a moderate to strong event. So we shall keep an eye on that. Of course we will. QBO, Quasi-Siberian Oscillation, is gone into its easterly phase. This is from NOAA. We can see 2023 just here, monthly QBO numbers from January all the way through the year. Last month, July, was our first month of the easterly QBO, our first negative month, where we went down to minus 5.96. So the easterly QBO has now descended from the stratosphere into the troposphere. Next week, I think we might, well, I'm not sure, actually might wait another week, but we will within the next couple of weeks get the QBO number for August, and you expect that to be slightly more negative than it was in July. We should see negativity of the easterly QBO strengthening them through the rest of the year into winter 2023-24, which will be an easterly QBO winter. This is from NASA. This is showing the levels of the atmosphere from the stratosphere up here to the troposphere at 30 to 50 HPA. The blue-green area is the easterly QBO. See how that has now descended from the stratosphere down to the troposphere. It is now down into that boundary layer of the atmosphere. Let's try and draw a couple of lines. It is now down from that boundary layer of the atmosphere that called the troposphere, 30 HPA just there, 50 HPA just here. That's not too bad a line, is it? So it's more or less descended to the 50 HPA level. It's certainly within the 30 HPA level, and therefore the easterly QBO is in the troposphere. And you would expect that, and it will carry on through to winter 2023-24. The reason look at the QBO is that when you're in an easterly phase, you kind of weaken the zonal westerlies. When you're in a westerly phase, you strengthen the zonal westerlies. So easterly QBO phases can coincide with an increased chance of a colder winter, though it is not that straightforward. Now, you haven't seen this for a long while, but this is showing Eurasian snow cover and Arctic cirrus except there is not a great deal of Eurasian snow cover to be seen, to be fair, but I've got a few little white patches, a few little white splotches here in the far eastern portion of Siberia. Eventually all of this, of course, is going to fill up with snow. The snow line will back all the way from from the far east of Siberia right away to western Russia, and then on into certainly eastern and northern parts of Europe. So how quickly that happens, we monitor that, of course, every week through the winter updates. It is always one of the fan favourites, and you'll be seeing that every week from next week in the winter updates. Going further northwards, this is Arctic sea ice extent. So another pretty big melt season. You see we've lost a lot of ice again through the Arctic. This is how we're actually looking at the moment compared to our long-term averages. So we are underneath the long-term averages. Really, let's get rid of all of these lines, shall we? No, we want to get that one up. And so this is how we compare it to 2011-2020. Much on a par with that long-term average. 2001 to 2010, we're under that average. We're under 1991 to 2000, very significantly so. And we're under, very significantly under 1979 to 1990. However, for our last 10-year average, which is 2011-2020, we are close to that. Let's just add in 1 or 2 years. So compared to 2022, we're actually a little bit under 2022 for Arctic size at the moment. 2021, we're underneath that. 2020, we're above 2020 just. 2019, we are above 2019 as well. We're close to 2018, 2017, we're very, very close to 2017, 2016, very close to that year, 2015, very close to that year for Arctic size extent, 2014, we're under 2014, and we're under 2013 as well. This is the record minimum year, 2011, obviously we're quite substantially above 2012, and 2011, we're very close to that, and 2010. A little bit under 2010. We'll monitor that through the first part of the winter updates. First 2-3 updates. We'll keep a close eye on Arctic size extent as always. Finally, we've got the Arctic oscillation. That is related to Arctic size extent, of course. There is a thing to this, there is a plan. I do work out where we slot in all the different elements. So at the moment, the AO, the Arctic oscillation, is around neutral. And it's forecast to go weekly positive over the next couple of weeks, actually, by the GFS ensemble. So neutral to weekly positive at the moment, and predicted to go into weekly positive territory, positive to week positive territory through the next couple of weeks. Probably going back towards neutral later on towards the middle part of September. That's a long way off. Remember, the AO just an index that's correcting. Atmospheric state doesn't drive anything its own terms, just tells what the atmosphere is doing. When the AO is positive, we've got low pressure over the Arctic and North Pole. When the AO is negative, got blocking. And then the NAO as well, looking like this. So currently, that line shows where we've been with the NAO, the red lines at NAO, GFS samples forecast the NAO to go. Currently, again, around neutral with the NAO, GFS ensembles forecasting that also will be in weekly positive territory as we go from August into September. So both of the indexes going positive to weekly positive. That should be an increase, a signal for increased zonality probably, and lower pressure within the high latitudes. So the Arctic sea ice melt season may start to slow up a little bit if we do start to cool things down and get some low pressure up over the Arctic. We will see. And there we go. That is your final Sunday Roundup of 2023. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please can you give us a like on the video. So that sets us up very nicely for next week, where we will go through all of this again, and we will do that every week for the following 11 weeks, won't it? But actually be 12 or maybe 13 weeks in total. And yes, so it's all to come, it's all to play for. And of course, we will add more into the mix as well. So this is just like the tip of the iceberg. There will be a lot more that we add into the winter updates, as we always do, such as, Atlantic hurricane season. We'll have a lot more about the IOD as well, Indian Ocean Dipole. So yes, this is just like touching base, and we have all of the analogues as well. This is just touching base, but there will be more that will be added into the actual winter updates update number 1 for winter 2023-24 will be 1 week today on Sunday, the 3rd of September. I'm not sure if that's going to be a video release or if we'll premiere it. We might premiere it. Sometimes we do. But premiere the first update. So watch your space for announcements on timings and whatnot. But definitely 100% first winter update is next Sunday on the 3rd of September, and it's going to be epic. The countdown is about to get underway once again, so strap yourselves in, buckle up, and here we go. It's all about to kick off once more. I better get some early nights, I think. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you so much to Richard for the Sunday Roundup gear. Thank you so much, my friend. And I'll see you all at 6 p.m. for our live stream. So, if you've got any questions about the Sunday Roundup, if you've got any questions about the autumn forecast that we released earlier on today, then please fire away. We'll have lots of long range and a 10 to 14 day as well with the live stream. So I shall see you at 6. Come back for that later on for the final Sunday Roundup of 2023. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.